Agnavir was wandering alone in the forest. His mind was filled with dilemma. Was he really a curse? Would his firepower only lead to destruction? The words of the sage, Shalya, were echoing in his mind. The same scene was coming before his eyes again, and again Satyapur was burning. King Chandrasen and his subjects were being consumed in its flames. His heart ached. What if this really happens? What if I become an enemy of my own people? Am I really worthy of this power? In this self-doubt, he reached a deep cave. He was tired, so he sat on a rock there. That dark cave seemed to be deepening the darkness within him. Then suddenly a soft voice echoed inside the cave. Do you think you can run away from this power? Agnavir became alert. He looked around but could not see anyone. Who is it? He asked in a loud voice. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the cave walls, a mysterious old ascetic with a deep brilliance in his eyes, but a sternness on his face. I am the one who knows the truth hidden within you. Agnavir bowed to him. Show me the way, Prabhu. I am entangled in my own doubts. The ascetic smiled. Doubts arise only when one does not recognize his true nature. Do you think fire is only meant for burning? Agnavir thought for a while, then said softly, No. Fire does not only destroy, it also creates. The ascetic nodded. You are right. Fire has the power to destroy, but the same fire cooks food, nourishes life, dispels darkness. It only depends on how it is used. Agnavir's eyes returned to shine, but the doubts were still there. But I have seen flames rising within me. Isn't this a sign that I can be a danger to my own people? The ascetic said seriously, Does the sun ever think that its heat will harm anyone? No, because it is set in its work. Just as the sun gives energy to everyone with its brightness, your fire can also create, if you learn to control it. Agnavir was beginning to understand. He had got this power not to burn anyone, but to fight against injustice. If he used it in the right direction, it would become a boon, not a curse. Then what should I do? He asked. The ascetic looked into his eyes. You have to accept the fire within you completely. You cannot run away from it, but you can control it, and this will be possible only when you take the final test of fire. The final test of fire? Yes, you have to go to Patal Gufa, where the eternal fire burns. There you will have to face the fire of your soul. If you defeat it, your power will become invincible, but if you lose, the fire will consume you. Agnavir clenched his fist. Now he had no doubts about his path. I am ready for this test. The ascetic showed Agnavir the way to Patal Gufa. It was a secret place where only those chosen by Agni himself could go. Agnavir entered there, and as soon as he took the first step, a huge flame rose up in front of him. This was no ordinary fire. It was alive, conscious. A grave voice echoed from within the cave. Who is it who has come to test my fire? Agnavir replied, I am Agnavir. I have come to fully accept my power. The voice roared, If you are worthy of this fire, endure it. If not, it will consume you. Suddenly, flames rose around Agnavir. It was the fire that was within him, his power, his anger, his arrogance, his fear, all manifesting together. The flames touched his body, but he stood still. He started burning, but he did not take a step back. The fire has not come to burn me, but to warm me. I accept it, he thundered. As soon as he said this, the flames suddenly died down. A divine aura appeared around Agnavir. His clothes changed into those of an ascetic, and his body began to emit a radiant fire. Now he was not just Agnavir, he had become the master of fire. As soon as he came out of the cave, Agnavir saw the ascetic again. He smiled. Now you are all set. Your doubts have been dispelled, and your fire has been purified. Agnavir bowed his head. Now I am ready for my real battle against Adharma. But in the meantime, a new crisis had arisen in Satyapur. Kalanemi had sent another fierce warrior, who knocked at the door of Satyapur. Agnavir now had to return to Satyapur and prepare for his next battle. But now he was not the same weak warrior who was entangled in his own doubts. Now he had become the fire of Dharma,